Hi, this is Matt Welch with Spiritual Media Blog, and tonight I have a very special guest, Jill Kemper. Jill has served as a massage therapist and yoga teacher for 20 years before becoming an angel coach. As an angel coach, Jill helps her clients heal physical pain by receiving angel love through relaxation. Jill is also the author of her debut book, Receiving from Your Angels: Four Practices to Heal Pain with Angel Love. Jill, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah. So I was immediately drawn to your website and the work that you do as an angel coach. That name in and of itself really grabbed my attention. But tell us about it. What is an angel coach and what sort of work do you do?
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I always like to start by, just sharing that before I was an angel coach, I was, a massage therapist and a yoga teacher. And throughout my career as a massage therapist, I was really drawn to energy work. I was like magnetized to energy work, and it really came from the challenging and traumatic childhood that I had. So I was on this healing journey and looking for relief, looking for peace. And I found that with the angels. So, during my massage career, I studied Reiki and IET and crystal healing. IET is integrative energy therapy. It's healing with the angels. And I fell in love with that form of energy medicine. And when I was working with those, healing energies and the energy of compassion and the energy of unconditional love, I found those issues in the tissues healing. I found the pain healing, the physical pain, the emotional pain, the trauma, the PTSD that I had experienced. So that led me into the evolution of starting to help others to hear their angels and see their angels and feel their angels. And that's really what I do as an angel coach is, basically your angels know how to heal your pain. So my job is to help you hear your angels. And not only to hear them, but to really trust those messages, take them into your body, and actually have healing and transformation. So that's a little bit about what I do as an angel coach.
Yeah, that is a great introduction, and I really want to dive into that because there's a lot to unpack there. But that's great. But maybe if we can start off with something you said about how you initially got drawn to this work through childhood trauma. I know that's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, so you can share as much or as little as you want about that. But I mean, do you mind talking a little bit about that and how that got you interested in this type of work?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's so healing to share your story. There's alchemy and transformation every time you share, as vulnerable as it is, right? As raw and tender as it can be. That's where the magic is. That's where the healing is. And so, I had a pretty challenging and traumatic childhood. I grew up in Chicago, and I had two very stressed out parents. And my parents didn't have familial, emotional, or financial support. And so I have so much compassion for what my parents went through. Um, and this led them, to make some challenging and difficult decisions from day to day. And there was so much stress, put a lot of stress on our family to not have other family members supporting, to not really have enough money to make ends meet. Um, and I felt like the angels were saying something about that, so I wanted to share. So So there was just a lot of, there was poverty, there was abuse, there was fighting with my parents because, you know, they weren't being supported. They didn't have the tools to work on their own stuff, right? So as a little kid, I'm absorbing everything. And so all of this stress culminated into the tragic death of my father when I was 11 and he was 40. And he was murdered. He stepped into a robbery in progress and was stabbed and passed away. And so my teenage years, the time, you know, because I was 11 when that happened, and my teenage years were, you know, kind of typical, right? Filled with anger and angst, with fun and exploration. And of course, I had this, you know, I had this trauma, I had this hurt, I had this grief that I was carrying around with me. And, you know, during my teenage years, I was into alternative rock. And I spent most of my teenage years going to concerts all around Chicagoland area and shooting pool. I was a little bit of a pool shark, actually. And so what was fascinating was, and I was often called, when I was younger, I was often told that I was wise beyond my years, that I seemed older than I was, that I would say, you know, very wise and like, you know, mature things. And they're like, how old are you? And so my older half brother, who didn't grow up with me, he didn't grow up in the same household. We share a father. He was a massage therapist. And so right out of I just graduated from high school and I went to visit him that summer that I graduated, and he started talking about massage and I was like, wow. And he seemed so happy and kind of free spirited, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. he actually tried to talk me out of it because he was like, it's really hard work and like blah 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 blah. And I was like, no, this is what I have to do. So instead of enrolling in university, I went to massage school when I was 18. I literally
Wow,
graduated from high school and I went directly to massage school.
good for you.
And of course, I was the youngest student in the class. A lot of people were there for kind of second and third career, third act of their journey. And that's when my healing journey began. That's when the healing began, when I entered into the healing arts. So in my book, I share 4 stories. I think a significant story I'd like to share here that might resonate with the listeners is, you know, fast forward a little bit, right? After massage school, I started studying Reiki. I started studying yoga. I met my soulmate. I got married. I had my first child. And after my first child was born, all of the stress, all of the trauma, all of the PTSD caught up with me. And I ended up in the psych hospital. I ended up in the psych hospital. Later, I received the diagnosis of PTSD. In the moment, you know, they really didn't know what had happened. It was sort of kind of like weird and mysterious, like, you know, and so they kind of said it was postpartum depression. They had a label of bipolar, but that I just knew that didn't resonate with me. I just knew it wasn't that.
Yeah.
And so the days and months following the hospital, following that psych hospital visit, was what I talk about in my book as the dark night of the soul. That was
Yeah.
my dark night of the soul because I felt lost. I felt confused. I felt shame um, about my journey, about what landed me there. And I came face to face, right, with all of the stuff, with the trauma, with the grief, with the loss, with the unhealed emotional energy.
Mm.
And that's really what led me. That's what led me, that dark night of the soul. Because, you know, I was a mom and, you know, I wanted to be there for my daughter. I wanted to be there for my family. And that's what led me to the energy medicine
Mm.
and started to connect me with the angels.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, you really were in the depths of your trauma, your dark night of your soul, but then you reached out to the energy medicine and I- you know, walk me through that process a little bit. You know, when you said you went face to face with your trauma, was that like an internal experience, or were you getting psychotherapy, or were you getting help from the angels, or I mean, how are you dealing with that trauma at that time?
Yeah, I had this, I've always sort of been a sort of a warrior, sort of a kind of like, I'm gonna figure this out,
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure this out myself. And I was, well, a couple things. One thing is I didn't believe the diagnosis. I didn't believe I had bipolar. Actually, it runs in my family.
Yeah.
And I just knew that didn't resonate. And I had this expressed desire, this kind of like this burning feeling inside me that I wanted to heal naturally. I wanted to understand what happened to me. How
Okay.
was I like totally fine,
Yeah.
going through my day, with my daughter, and then I'm in the psych hospital. And then I'm like, I feel scared and lost and confused and ashamed and
Right.
wanted to understand what had happened to me. So
Yeah.
I started pulling out all the tools, pulling out. So I found this beautiful, beautiful spiritual teacher who I ended up studying with for 9 years,
Wow.
all the levels of energy medicine, all the levels of Reiki, and so many other different fun,
Yeah.
interesting, exciting classes that made me feel alive, that made me feel whole. Because really, I felt broken and lost
Okay.
after the dark, kind of after the hospital dark night of the soul,
Right.
and I was like, how do I feel like myself again? So I started taking fun classes. I got introduced to oracle cards. I reconnected with my meditation practice. I started committing, I realized a lot of things after the hospital. One was that I really need to take better care of myself. And that led me to, okay, what can I do every day? What can I start to do every day to take care of me, to take care of my physical body, my emotional health, my mental health, so I could be there for my daughter, so I could be there for my family.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what, so I fell in love with all of it. I fell in love with my daily practice. I fell in love with meditating and that, so it was a slow progression to the angels. It wasn't like Dark Night of the Soul, angels,
Right.
right?
Right.
Several years of um psychotherapy, natural herbs. I really didn't want to take the medication that they had. I didn't think I had bipolar, so that
Yeah.
medication, I would have taken the medication if I thought that was what I needed.
Right. Right.
So I found this amazing therapist in Evanston who
Huh.
was a psychologist, and like she had like an alternative medicine flavor. So she used
Oh.
affirmations and flower essences,
Oh, nice.
along with, and that felt in alignment with my journey.
Good for you. So that was like
Yeah.
and it sounds like a combination of psychotherapy and more holistic spirituality and energy work.
Mhm.
That I mean I really believe in that too. I mean I'm a licensed psychologist, but I also am very interested in alternative and holistic interventions. So I think that that works best when you can combine them like that. So that's great. And then now I also want to hear, so how did that gradually, thank you for giving us that background, by the way, and sharing
Sure.
that part of yourself. So how then did that lead you to the angels, or how did you start to feel that connection to the angels?
Yeah. Um, I was trying to think if there was a specific moment where everything kind of shifted for me. Yeah. So I was working in a yoga studio, and there was this moment where I knew that I needed to spread my wings. And it wasn't the right fit. And so I left that, and it kind of felt a little bit back to that kind of lost feeling, like, wait a minute, a little wobbly. And so I started seeing, and I outgrew the therapist that I was given after the hospital. After the hospital, they give you
Yeah.
recommendations, the medication, the psychotherapy, and I went and I did it. But I felt like I kind of graduated from that. And then for a little bit of time, I was floating, like, oh, okay, I didn't have a therapist. I didn't know exact. And then I met this amazing counselor slash teacher who was into the angels. And I was like mesmerized by the work. She had such composure and lightness, and an ability to hear beyond, right? To hear
Yeah.
the beyond. And she taught me how to listen to my inner voice. And then as I listened to myself and my inner voice and my feelings and my emotions, I realized that I sort of had this gift of connecting with
Okay.
with the other realms.
Okay.
So as I dived into my own soul and my own psyche and my own heart, that led me to this very specific style of energy medicine, which, like I mentioned earlier, I fell in love with. It's called Integrative Energy Therapy, IET, Healing with the Angels. And it was just a phenomenal form of energy medicine that just helped me to clear my field, clear the guilt, clear the shame, clear the pain, clear the anger, clear the
Yeah.
trauma. Like
Yeah.
I literally like, you know, and like you were just saying, the importance of psychotherapy with energy work, I mean, that's when you become unstoppable. So
Yeah.
that's where I felt the biggest shift was once I started stepping into my own power, the power to listen to myself. And the gift of listening to myself led me to being able to hear and channel and connect with the angelic realm.
That's really interesting. So was this the first time in your life that you were connecting with the angelic realm, or had you experienced this previously?
Yeah, I didn't really have it's interesting because growing up, my mom was Catholic, my dad was Baptist. I grew up Baptist for a little while, but I was never baptized. And then we sort of got away from religion.
Interesting.
So I didn't ever connect with angels through religion. I mean, angels aren't religious, right? Angels are actually the heartbeats of God. So beyond any religion, I started to connect with the angels through healing. That was my first introduction to the angels, was healing. And actually I took this really cool meditation course called Healing with the Healing Angels of the Energy Field.
Okay.
And I had this beautiful meditation with Archangel Michael. We were all meditating with Archangel Michael, and the teacher was channeling, his energy. And I had this very profound experience. He knelt down in front of me, Archangel Michael put his hands inside of my heart and lifted away this like mountain of grief that I had been holding from my dad's death.
Wow.
And when I came out of the meditation, I had no pain in my body. I had, and I was a massage therapist, so I had a lot of shoulder pain,
Right. Right.
kind of some back pain, shoulder pain, kind of aches and pains. And after that meditation, I was pain free, and I was like, wow, I was a believer.
Th- That is really cool. So you actually, is this as a vision that you saw? Was it an image, or was it, I mean, was it, what were you seeing?
you know, um, so that's a great question. What happened was, remember, I was in a meditation class, and there was
Yeah.
very specific, like she was leading the meditation, and
Okay.
all she was really doing was channeling messages from the angels, downloads from the angels.
Right.
Within that, your own intuitive channels, my own intuitive channels. Of
Yeah,
everyone's intuitive
right.
channels were opening up in their own way. But for me, I realized I had the gift of clairvoyance. I did not understand that gift.
Yeah.
That gift unveiled itself over years and years and years of meditation. Now I help other people open up their third eye and open up their clairs. And
Yeah.
the big part of what I do as an angel coach, right? I help people to not only trust their clairvoyance channels, their clair channels, their intuitive channels, but to follow it and listen to it and know that's how they're receiving love from the angels. So that's one of the things I help my clients do.
Um, so I know this is probably something that you spend lots and lots of time working with people on, but I mean, how do you help people to connect with that? And how is that different than connecting with their intuition?
I mean, that's a good question, Matt. So I was just listening to see what kind of how they wanted me to share the answer to that. So how do I so when I'm working with a client one-on-one, they have a specific pain, right? A specific issue
Right.
that they're trying to heal. And like I said, your angels know how to heal that, right? Your angels know how to heal your pain, know the higher perspective, know the deeper meaning of that pain. That's really what I do with my clients, right? I help them say, okay, you've got this shoulder pain, right? Your shoulder hurts.
Yeah.
Let's listen to that. What's living in there? What layers are there? What parts are there? So we work with the archangels, we work with meditation, and then we work with the energy work, kind of a combination
Right.
of, hearts work, energy work, angel work to reveal what's really going on in there. What are you really holding on to? And is it even someone else's energy? Is it a past life energy? Right? What is this pain? The magic question, right? What lesson am I learning from this pain?
Okay. So yeah, this is well, I want to come back to past lives, but I want to focus first on the pain. You, you bring up all these really fascinating topics that would probably
Well,
spend
you know what? We're just gonna
hours.
have to do this again.
Yeah, probably. But you can't just toss out past life and but that's because that's a pretty interesting topic. So the pain, so is it primarily physical pain that you're working with when people come to you? Or is that what your book primarily about physical pain, or is it a combination of physical and emotional pain?
Thank you for asking. It's a combination of both. But I love helping people who have physical pain, right? If you've got something physicalized,
Yeah.
I'm I'm 100% there to help you to understand, to unpack it, to heal it, to transform it so that you can have relief. So I do talk about the different issues in the tissues that I've personally experienced. So, to really anchor in like Crohn's disease, rosacea,
Mm,
cystic acne,
mm,
physical pain, tension, and inflammation. In the book I share the story about tearing my ACL and having ACL surgery, and then going back to work too soon as a massage therapist, and then having shoulder pain, tearing my shoulder, really, which was the impetus for me shifting career, evolving my career, was that my physical body was saying, hey, 20 years,
mm.
it's time to create a shift in your healing, um in your healing practice.
Right.
So what else would you asked another part of that question? Did I
Yeah,
get
you did. No, that was good. I was just curious how much of it was do you focus on the physical versus the emotional pain?
you know what it's a combination, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of times people will come with something physical, right? They're coming with something physical, and then they realize there's an emotional component, there's a mental component, and there's a spiritual component. So what I tell my clients is whatever you're experiencing physically, there's an energetic layer to it. And that's what we're working on. That's what we're trying to affect, is that energetic layer. So we're going into the energy world, right? We're clearing your aura, your energy body, right? The auric field all around you, your electromagnetic field around your body, and we're clearing whatever imprints are in there that you may be holding on to that could be affecting you all the way into the physical body. So we're working with relaxing the physical body,
Mm.
releasing the issues in the tissues, releasing the pain by receiving angelic love, angelic healing, angelic compassion, angelic downloads.
Okay, that's helpful. That's helpful. No, that makes sense. That I think that's a good explanation. I'm sure that, yeah, I'm sure there's, that's probably a lot of like work on your part and the client's part, but that's a helpful explanation. What sort of results or interesting stories have you gotten from this work?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question. I want to say, because you had said something, I want to kind of comment on what you said, and then I'll go into the results. It is work because it's vulnerable, it's courageous. You know, my clients are vulnerable, my clients are courageous, right?
Yeah,
My clients are, thank you, Lovey. My clients are willing, right? Willing to do the work, willing to heal, willing to relax, release, and receive, willing to look at the stuff. So you said, it's kind of a lot of work. It is in one sense because you're digging in, but it's so the result,
yeah,
right? What's the result of this work? The result is relief, whether that's physical or emotional relief. The result is feeling more connected to your body, to your soul, to the divine, whatever that means for you. If that's the angels, the ascended masters, your soul, God, source.
yeah,
The result is transformation, a healing. Where, I mean, my goal is that everything that I do, even this conversation, right? That you're going to come one person and you're going to leave another person. You're going to leave transformed. And that's my expressed desire with all of my offerings, my free offerings, my coaching programs, any interviews or podcasts. I want you, my goal, my job as an angel coach is to help you to receive your angels' love, to feel them, hear them, trust them, know that they're here and they have your back, know that they're here and they love you unconditionally, know that they're here, and guess what? They got the answers to that, whatever that wound is, whatever that pain is. Like, I feel like part of my, I'm learning more about this, part of my medicine is really bringing hope, bringing hope that what could have felt like a, whatever trauma you've went through where you feel stuck,
yeah,
whatever pattern, every pattern can be healed. Every wound can be healed. Every pain can be healed, especially when you work with the angelic realm. So I just want to bring the angels to the earth and, share their light, their joy, their infinite love for us, their unconditional love for us. And it's just my passion.
yeah, I can tell. It feels like this is something that you really love to do. So that's great. And how about any challenging patients? I mean, any examples of just patients where you're like, oh man, this is really tough.
I think, of course, I've had clients along the way who haven't maybe gotten all the results that I would have loved for them to get. But we have to understand that everyone's on their journey. I
Yeah.
think we have to take a step back, right? And not let our ego get in the way of what we think their healing looks like. And, it's funny because I was actually thinking about a client that I had that, it didn't unfold the way I wanted it to unfold.
Hmm.
Bottom line. But I learned so much. And then I realized too, this client got what they needed. And I have to trust that, even if some of what it was leaving the program earlier, not finishing, or whatever it was. So I don't necessarily know if I would say I had a difficult, client. This is the thing. Most people, when they come to me, there is a certain level of, I'm trying to think of what the word is. They've done a lot of other things. Do you know what I mean?
So you're like, okay,
They've
nothing's
tried,
worked, so I'm gonna try the angel coach.
right, exactly. And I mean that in a lighthearted
I
kind
do
of
too.
loving
I do
way.
too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean it in a self-compassionate way. I get
Yeah.
it. Hiring an angel coach is a huge, um, it's a leap for some people. It's a leap
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing stuff like this, because I want people to understand that it's actually within their reach, that it's actually going to create some pretty tremendous results. So sometimes I'm the last ditch effort. Okay.
Yeah.
And they've tried everything else, and now they're like, okay, what else is there out there, right? Oh my gosh, angels, angel coach, and of course I've had clients who have had I've had clients heal insomnia. I've had clients heal lifetimes of PTSD and trauma where they literally do not have that trigger anymore. What was a hair trigger for them is a so what.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I could keep going, right? I've helped clients heal um, chronic pain that they've had for 30 years. They don't have it anymore. Chronic issues in the tissues. I have a client right now we're working with. She okay if I say this? She said yes. Okay, restless leg.
Hmm.
And she's felt like hopeless, like she's stuck with this. She's got this. It's part of her genetics. It's just something that she has to live with. And I felt so connected with her. And I said, I don't know. I think me, you, and the angels can work on this. She has had such she's literally doesn't think she even has restless leg anymore.
Wow.
From unpacking the deeper meaning, from clearing the karma, talk about past lives, of what her lineage carried, what she was carrying in her own body, in her own cellular memory from the family. And that's what I mean by past lives. It's not anything to be so complicated, right? Our soul is eternal and has lived many, many lives. And when we come into this human body, our soul has all these experiences to share. And our soul came back and said, hey, guess what? I want to work on this, this, and this. That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah, no, I've heard similar teachings, and I tend to agree with that. I mean, tell us a little bit more. What role do you think past lives play? Let's say past lives and karma play in a person's ability to heal themselves.
Matt, that's an excellent question. I'm going to try to answer it very just simply,
Okay.
because you can answer it from multiple different kind of levels. So I kind of really want to hear what the angels are saying about this and really bring that in. For many years, I studied karma. My Reiki teacher was was very influential in helping me unpack my karma, understand my karma, have compassion for my karma, which is always the answer. And to understand that all karma is a pattern, right? And that pattern could be expansive and rich, and that pattern could be constrictive and resistance. So whatever pattern, and so if our soul is eternal and we chose these challenges, we came here to say, because you asked about how does karma play the role in how someone's ability to heal, right?
Right.
So
Like, yeah.
yeah, if you've carried a pattern for, let's pretend, 10 lifetimes, every lifetime you're doing a little bit of healing, a little bit of healing, a little bit of healing. There is a way, and I think this is part of what you're asking too, and I feel like the angels are saying this, there is a way to heal that pattern completely so you don't experience it. You don't have to experience it anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, how would, I mean, and this might be a complicated question, but I mean, how do you go about healing karma from past lives?
Mm-hmm. So, good question. The pain in your shoulder has a teaching. Remember, your pain, what do I talk about in my book? Your pain is a portal. The pain is a teacher, right? So that pain is trying to tell you something. And we use the power, the mighty power, the ultimate highest vibration of the archangels to support. So there's thank you, there's a couple things the angels are saying. So there's several frameworks that I use to help my clients. One framework that I use that's really
Oh,
super awesome
thank you. And should
is
tell
in
everyone
my book,
that's your book. Yeah, tell everybody that's your book, from your angels, four practices to heal
Receiving.
pain.
Yes, it's all
Yes,
about
sorry.
receiving.
Yes.
Receiving
Yes.
from your angels. So, how you asked us an excellent question. How do we go about healing, right? A karma that could be from a past life.
Yeah.
We start by relaxing. We start by devoting, right? Having a commitment. I'm devoted to receiving love from my angels. So you're willing to open your heart, to open your mind, to open your chakras, right? To open your energy body. I talk about the energy body in my book. I talk about Angels 101, Energy Body 101, and then I share those four practices. So practice number 1 is called Renew Your Devotion. And this is all about making that commitment. It's like, yes, I'm willing. Practice number 2, probably my favorite, maybe my favorite, relax and cherish your body. So we're not going to do this by thinking about it. Yeah. We're going to do this by relaxing physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's almost like it's not hypnosis, but it's like it's accessing the different wavelengths of the brain. So it's getting into this really, really relaxed state where you're feeling gratitude for your body, gratitude for your journey. Then we go into the 2 practices that work simultaneously. We have to separate them so we can understand them, but they work together at the same time. Release and lead with your heart, and receive and trust your intuition. So once we've said yes and we relaxed, then we come in and we say, okay, I need to release this. I need to release my attachment to this pain, my suffering. I'm willing to release this trauma, what I've been carrying around for who knows how long. And through the releasing, right, the body releases, you can release through movement, through emotion, through the energy work. Simultaneously, and this links you, right? Release to lead with your heart so that you're in your heart space. The heart what I talk about in my book is the gateway to your angel's love. This is where we can access. It's not going to happen through the conscious mind. Yeah, it's going to happen through the intuitive heart, the open heart. And this linking of the heart and mind, which is another part of the release and lead with your heart. Each practice has multiple steps that assist this process, right? So what I do with my clients, I mean, it's beautiful, it's magical, is I lead them through pretty much every step of the book, right? In every single session. They're renewing their devotion, they're relaxing, they're releasing. And then we get to the magic, if you will, of receiving. receiving the healing, the compassion, the love, the peace, the downloads, the joy. Well, what are they going to receive? They're going to receive the intention that we set. So everything, and the angels reminded me, back to renew your devotion. The most important thing is your fuel, your intention, right? The intention is the key that opens the door to all of the energy, all of the healing, all of the downloads to come in. So in an hour session, we can heal any lifetime that shows up, any part that shows up, any pain that shows up. Now, the chronic pain takes longer, right? Because it's something that you've carried. So part of why I don't do single sessions anymore. I do have openings if people are really curious and, they're not ready to invest, thousands of dollars in the coaching program and all that. Of course, I'm going to be, I'm a healer, right?
Yeah.
But I take people on a journey because it takes a while, right? Once it's physicalized, it can take several sessions, and in between, right? My coaching clients receive their own personal practice. They receive tools that they can do on their own. And then we come together, we meet, we connect about those tools, we connect about their intention, and we say, okay, what's next to heal? Let's stay with this intention. Let's stay with the healing. So I use different measurements, that the angels give me. I won't get into the details of that, but it is fascinating. The measurements the angels give me. One student has an iceberg. Another student had fruit. We were shrinking something in the body, and the angel showed us in sizes of fruit, and I was like, this is so wise.
Wow.
Stuff I can't make up myself. That's so, but it works, right? Because we work in symbols, we remember in symbols, we connect in symbols, and that's how the angels talk to us. So anyway, I think I answered your question. Did I answer your question?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
again, we could probably spend more time on that, but I mean, yeah, it sounds like it's a very comprehensive level of work.
It is.
Um, I'm just also, it's a fascinating topic too. I mean, do you ever do any sort of um past life regressions where you'll help people access or remember their past lives? Does that ever enter into your work?
Thank you for asking. I feel like we should do like we could do like a past life
I know,
right?
I know.
Let's do a past life podcast, but let me answer your question very easily. I'm not trained in past life regression. I don't do
Okay.
past life regression. However, there is one archangel that when he comes in, I know there's past life healing that this client needs to do. I can access past lives through my intuitive channels, through my angel guides,
Okay.
through my client's willingness to heal that pain. But all past life work, all time work, past, present, future, parallel lives, is about the now. It's about healing the now, coming more into the now. So we don't trip on a life and get every single download and go on this long inner journey about it. That's not the focus of my work. Sometimes that happens and I get like a lot of detail about one specific life because it's for their highest
Mm.
good. But typically it's like, oh, I just sensed this past life and you were trapped in a dungeon. Okay.
Hmm.
And then we
Yeah.
clear it. Like we don't spend, sometimes it's, 17th century and you had a daughter and she was killed and blah, 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 blah. Sometimes that happens, but that's not the focused intention.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense? So
Yeah.
yes, past life healing comes up, but it's not the expressed intention unless, and I have had clients who've wanted that and we've done it.
Right.
So it's kind of like
Yeah.
whatever again, it's back to intention and healing. If their acid reflux is actually because something horrible happened in a past life, I don't want to give too many details,
Yeah.
then that will be cleared in the healing session. Whatever lesson they were learning, right? Whatever lesson they were meant to understand, to unpack, to integrate
Right.
will unfold. So I
I
hope that kind of
see.
answers it without
It
giving too much.
No, it does. Yeah, that's helpful. That's really
Cool.
helpful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of these topics, I feel like we could go in greater depth, but I feel like you also covered these very comprehensively. So thank you. Was there any topics that we didn't get to that you feel like is important for people to know either about your book or your work?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I'm just going to kind of like let it flow. I mean, I just want to say that this is my book baby. She's my baby. She's 3 years old. I fell in love with her all over again when I just recently did like a 6 week book group. I did a book group and healing circle based on my book, and we went through like every part of my book together, and we
Oh,
had it. They
nice.
read it, and then we discussed, and we meditated, and I created these beautiful angelic pain relief questions, and it was like really so wonderful to hear what other people felt and heard and saw from my book. And I mean, ultimately they were healing, and that was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm helping people, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like that was like the gift
that's
of
great.
all the gifts, was that this book, my courage to share the painful things that happened to me, my courage to share, um the whole point of this book was she was birthed from my pain. She was birthed from the shoulder pain that led me to become an angel coach. The emotional pain of losing my father tragically, to sharing my medicine in so many different ways. So it's really the heal, people healing, right? Like they're healing, and that is such a gift from these practices. So each practice in and of itself is its own healing. And then you can merge the practices together I mean, you could read my book and heal, and you don't necessarily have to hire me as your coach. And we need support, right? We need help along the way to, if there's accountability when you have a coach, there's the actual healing that I'm providing, that I'm offering, that I'm sharing, that amplifies their own. I mean, my client is the healer, right? Their soul is the healer. Their angel team is the healer. I'm just a hollow bone. I'm just the channel. And then we follow, like I said, those practices, right? Renew your devotion, relax and cherish your body, receive and trust, release and lead with your heart, and receive and trust your intuition. So some clients come to me to open up their intuition. They want to be able to like hear, see, feel, know, and trust their angels. Most of my clients are coming to me because there's something that they want to work on, whether it's physical or emotional, and they want support.
That's
So yeah, I just, my book has so much medicine, and I'm so happy that it's out there. It was, like I said, sharing my four personal stories, rounding the teachings, the practices. There's meditations in the four practices. And yeah, I mean, I'll share a little bit more about the different offerings I have. But that was just a download. So
Yeah, no, please, yeah, please do. I mean, yes, tell us about your offerings, your coaching. If people want to either work with you as a coach or they want to read your book, what's the best way to get a hold of you? I know you have a website. Let us know that, and yeah, please do share any offerings you'd like to share with us.
awesome. Yeah. I mean, I have so many offerings on my website, jillkempnerhealing.com. But what I want to share here is my free breakthrough conversation. And so this is the conversation to, if you're looking to hire me as your angel coach. And this is a really awesome, it's a free conversation over Zoom. It's a 1 hour conversation over Zoom. And in that conversation, it's a valuable conversation where I'm listening to you and your angels. And there's several gifts that you will receive from whether you coach with me, right? Whether you say yes and you're ready to coach with me, or maybe not yet. Either way, you're going to walk away with your fuel, which is all your fuel is your intention, right? What is the highest vibrational intention, fuel, energy that you need to heal that pain? Because basically, whatever pain you have, physical or emotional, there's a healing energy for it. So I help you get clear on that. So you walk away with your fuel, you walk away with a personal angel invitation that you can start doing every day. But most importantly, I let you know what your angels are saying about that pain, right? The angelic perspective of your pain, the deeper meaning of that pain. What are your angels? What's your angels' guidance about that pain? And if it resonates, right, I share the details of my coaching program with you. I also pull an oracle card, which maybe I can do today for you if you want.
Sure, why not?
I also pull an oracle card that can support you in just your continued, connection to that fuel, your, deeper connection. And, I help my clients build a relationship with their angels. And it can start in that breakthrough conversation. So all that information is on my website, jillkempnerhealing.com. And there's a bunch of wonderful offerings coming up, like I have a free master class on the 18th. And you can enroll on my website. And I'm also going to be teaching Angel Reiki, which is beautiful energy healing modality, which I created. We'll leave it at that.
Well, that sounds amazing. So, I mean, did I hear that right? You offer free one-on-one conversations over Zoom. You said that through your free
Yes.
breakthrough conversation.
Yep.
Wow, that's a great offering.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, well, no, thank you. Thank you for offering that. And yeah, thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. And yeah, Joe, I can just tell you're filled with so much light and enthusiasm. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Do you think that for the listeners, it would be helpful if I just pulled an angel card
Oh,
and listened?
sure.
Okay, all right.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so here is the beautiful angel guide deck by Kyle Gray. And this is just going to be a message from your guardian angels. I'm not going to channel much, just a short little message. So how is it that you are receiving the peace of your guardian angels today, this week, or whenever you connect with the replay? Okay, let's see what the guardian angels are saying. There's so many beautiful messages. Oh, I love this one. Holy love.
Oh,
Holy love is saying that, the first thing I heard when I said holy love is you are whole, right? Your soul is whole. Your heart is whole. Even if you are feeling hurt or in grief or in heartache, know that this holy love that the angels had for you. I think one of the messages in here is that you are loved beyond your wildest dreams. And that's really what I hope came through today, is how much your angels love you and adore you and cherish you and know you, right? Your guardian angels have been with you since the creation of your soul. So they know, they've guided, surrounded, directed, and protected you your whole soul's journey. And so this card, this message is like, take it in. Take in more love than you've ever received before. Let yourself receive their love, their holy love. And there's something about holy, like being pure, like this, like it's this pure, there's no attachment, there's no agenda, there's no neediness, right? It's just this love that encompasses you, that fills you, that blesses you, and is with you 24/7. Like it's your core, it's who you are, right? You are love, your essence is love. And really to take the time to pause and receive that love on a regular basis. And that's what I help my clients do. It's really to slow down, right? To breathe, to relax, to meditate, and receive the love that is for you, that will heal your pain. So that's the message I'm getting from this beautiful holy love card.
well, I'm very touched by that. Thank you. That was really it was very kind and loving and thoughtful. Thank you for doing that.
You're so welcome, Matt. Such a
Um,
pleasure.
yeah, well, I do. I already feel this greater sense of peace and calmness. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your offerings. It was wonderful. It was wonderful to have a conversation and share this time with you.
Thank you so much for your beautiful energy, your questions, your wisdom and insights. And yeah, let's do it again.
That sounds fun. That sounds great. Sounds great. All right. Well, Jill, it's so nice meeting you and talking with you tonight.
You too. And oh, I just want to mention you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube Live. I do a free weekly class. It's called The Transmission. I'm actually very excited about this. I'm having transmission number 99 tomorrow. And I'm
Nice.
almost at 100, and then I'll be shifting from calling it a transmission to a podcast in the new year. But it's Tuesday mornings at 9:30 Central. And yeah, just hop on there and check it out. And of course, check out the spiritual blog, spiritual healing blog,
S- Spiritual media blog.
spiritual media blog.
Thank you. Yes.
As
Yes.
well as a beautiful resource to support your spiritual journey.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all that, and we'll definitely post all that. So yeah,
Cool.
Jill, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
I love hanging out and talking about the angels. So thank you for this opportunity, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Yeah.